Everybody loves Raymond 360. Yes, going live here. All right. Is that camera tilted? I don't know. It's hard to tell. Tom Caldabiano here. Everybody loves Raymond, ELR 360 live. Saying hello to all of our audience members. I have to go live here. Go live there. Put that up there. Then I can see that. Yes, let's talk a little bit about all things. First of all, how am I sounding to all of you? Sounding good, I hope. So many microphones, too many microphones today, which is a good thing. Welcome everybody. Hello Facebook, hello Instagram, hello YouTube. Let me close this window, close that window. Close that window and that there. Okay, now we only have Instagram. Great. Hi, Tom. I can see a chair next to you. Do you have a guest? No. There we go. No guest. No, generally if I have a guest, it's, by the way, summer, even though we're after Labor Day, summer has been tough to get a guest, really. Here, let me move over here a little bit. Let me center myself. Not emotionally, but physically. All right, how do I sound, everybody? Sounding good? Yes, great. Thank you, Lisa. Hi, all. Let's bring up a couple of hellos. Okay, Bob, you are the first hello, and it is aloha. And so now, Karen, here you go. I'm pulling that up. I'm wearing my Mets. This is effectively a Mets hat, everybody, for all of you guys in England. But it's not. It's not the colors. It's a weird hat that I got in Taiwan. That Major League Baseball, I think I've mentioned this to you, and my apology to Chicago Cubs fans, Phillies fans, Pittsburgh's fans, who else? Boston, all kinds of people. Trying to button my cuff. My cuff is fighting me. Apparently, Major League Baseball licensed their merchandise to companies in Asia. And when I was there, I looked and I saw, holy moly, there's a lot of Yankee fans over here. And there's a lot of Boston Red Sox fans over here. And then I finally saw the Major League Baseball store. And in that store, and I may have mentioned this before, so forgive me, was a mannequin wearing a fantastic looking New York Yankee jersey. And on the mannequin's head was a Boston Red Sox hat. Now, for those of you that follow baseball, they are arch enemies, hated, deep-seated hatred forever, going back to when Boston sold, or traded, not sold, effectively, though. Babe Ruth, way back when, I don't know, what year, 1914? Could it be 1914? People can look it up. 1914 or something like that. It was called The Curse of the Babe. And they never won a World Series after they got rid of Babe Ruth, who was a pitcher, but went on to hit the most home runs of anybody. And this was when they had a shorter season and there were no such thing as steroids. I think his main performance-enhancing drug was hot dogs and beer. And so then the Red Sox and the Yankees hated each other. So, but the colors are phenomenal, I will say. Maybe even nicer, I don't want to insult Mets fans, than the actual Mets. And of course, the Mets were a combination of the Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants, now Giants, then New York Giants, who abandoned New York City to move on. Okay. Now, let's catch up on a couple of these. Hi, Kim, I gave you extra airtime. Hi, Linda. How are you, everybody? Yes, Kim, thank you. Sounds good, thank you. Lisa, Deb, hi. How are you, Deb? Let me see, where is this? Let me reach up here onto my rafter here. Yes, fall approaching soon, although it is 90 degrees here in Hollywood, and it does not feel like fall in any way. Packers are on. Okay, Kathy, good luck to the Packers. That is American football for those of you overseas or down south, etc., etc. Yes, hi, Kim. Gil, always a pleasure to see you. Hi, Lynn. Hi from Toronto. Yes. So sorry, Yankees fan, love the show. Yes, that's okay, Diana, that you are a Yankees fan. Raymond in real life is indeed a Yankees fan, but he's an all New York fan. Let's just say that. Let me see. So, okay, Deb, here we go. Since we're going to talk about directors today, here's a question. What was the most challenging scene Phil would say he directed? So, okay, this gets into kind of splitting hairs type of thing. We will get to that. Excellent question. Let me just finish a couple of hellos before I get into it. Back after being out of the country for 3 weeks, I'm watching tennis, football in ELR from Southeast Kansas. Hi, Sandy Phillips. Where were you traveling? Where were you traveling for 3 weeks? We all love travel. Speaking of travel, Phil Rosenthal tonight will be in Vermont. Vermont for his Somebody Feed Phil tour. The Somebody Feed Phil, is it a book? He has a book coming out in, let me see. We should, oh, this is hot. What am I drinking here? I think I moved the box, but I'll find it. There's your friend Phil. Okay, we have a Phil question. So now look at that focus, right? Folks, how great are we? Life short, talk with your mouth open. It smells like a hint of a okay, here we go. Okay, this is a new company called Twinings. Okay, I have this loose tea also, but that me holding up loose tea to the camera is not as exciting. Okay, Phil's saying life short, talk with your mouth full. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, so I can, by the way, I'm getting a hint of maple, but there is no, that could be coming off of me from morning pancakes. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Catching up on all these hellos. And speaking of, sorry, when you hear me pausing, it's not because of a hangover or something like that. I'm just reading through comments and then I edit in my head, and I don't know how that comes across, but if I'm editing too much. So, too much of a pause. The Paley exhibit ends on Sunday, September 14th. There is a chance I will be going to New York City. I'm not sure. I will let you guys know if I'm going to go through that. And then the rumor is nothing is official. Nothing is ever official until it's happening. So I can say with confidence there will be an exhibit at the Paley Center until September 14th. After that, there is a very, very good chance that it moves to the Long Island Museum of Music and Entertainment. And that might be in November, I'm thinking. Now, as an added question mark, could this possibly happen? There is a chance for the TV Raymond reunion filming in October. And I have official confirmation from nobody. So that is the way it goes. It's definite, not just what am I saying? Remote possibility. That's a good pop filter for those of you that are into broadcasting. Challenge. Okay, let's go back to this now. Don't worry, I did not forget about the directing question. The Curse of the Bambino, but the curse was broken. Yes, Lisa. Are you from Boston? So let's see. Now you're saying, Annabelle, oops, my husband says it was 1918 when Babe Ruth was sold to the Yankees. Okay, so that's off the top of my head, and I'm not a Yankee fan. So you have to give me credit, Annabelle. Tell your husband thanks for the public shaming. Back after, yes, okay, we know that. Did we know where? I don't know. Hi, Brian Corbin. Good afternoon. I love your show. Last week at the end, you said you might try and explain how the set was designed. For example, was Raymond's house on the left when you first came in? Where was Frank and Marie's house? Ooh, can of worms there, Brian. Can of worms. Was that the last question? I don't know. Hi, Phyllis. Is it Tenazio? Going to Paley this weekend. Now, this weekend is, it closes. If you're talking about this weekend, do you mean next weekend? Because this weekend, I think the exhibit closes in 30 minutes, so you have to hurry. When Patricia Heaton was pregnant, what directing hi Deb, try to directly conceal the pregnancy without disrupting the story? Excellent question. Again, we'll pile those all on together. Hi again from Portland. Phil will be here Tuesday in Portland, Maine. Yes, Kim, you're down in Mississippi. So Mississippi, 89 degrees, but the humidity makes it feel like 1,000 degrees. Yeah. Okay, bear with me, everybody. Since this is live, okay, hold on. I have to whisper this, so I don't want anybody else's to be triggered. Alexa, what is the humidity?
Right now, the humidity is 27%.
Okay, Kim, I don't want to hurt your feelings. 27%. That means 90 degrees feels like 90 degrees. Yes, Phil was in Montreal last night. Yes, exactly. Annabelle, okay, we're going to roll these all into one. Question, what is the difference between a director versus producer versus showrunner? Yes. Twinings, yes, you've heard of Twinings. Okay, so I think Twinings might be the oldest brand in the world. I could be wrong. I've never been wrong, though. Alexa, what is the oldest commercial brand in the world?
From digitaljournal.com. The oldest brand, Saint Gobain from France, is 358 years old, followed closely by Aviva and Motai, both with histories exceeding 300 years.
Okay. All right, so Alexa is wrong again. Alexa, when did Twinings tea start?
From Pinterest.com. Twinings is British tea company established in 1706, best known for Earl Grey
1706. Alexa, stop. Okay, great. So they're saying, wow. Muay Thai, so Twinings is the oldest tea brand. How about that? That is my answer. What is the oldest continuous tea brand? That is my answer. Not quite centered, though. I don't know what quite centered means. The shot? Interesting. Okay. Let me see. Okay, that and that. Okay, great. I'm seeing a whole bunch of pictures, a whole bunch of good information too. Okay, so let me get into the directing bit. Was I in the middle of something? Twinings, yes, and I was fine-ish. Let me see. Yes, okay. Hi, Deb. Yes, a little fact about your son's marriage. And your daughter-in-law, the director. Okay, let's clear things up. Okay, I posted pictures of Gary Halvorson, and I may have to take it down because Patricia Heaton. We all know I get made fun of for calling Patricia Heaton attractive or something. People are like, yeah, we get it, but the whole point is she has good bone structure, nothing to do with her. Completely lucked out genetically, and as a photographer, that was very good. That was very enjoyable for me. So. The director, producer, all these titles, etc. I posted a picture of Gary Halvorson, Patricia Heaton relaxing on the shoulder of Gary Halvorson. Let me see, what did I do with my? Here's my. They call this a phone. The director in television is much different than a director in movies. Okay, let's get that kind of factoid out of the way. So Steven Spielberg is a director of a movie, and when a movie director is the king of the set, so the king of the movie. So in television, it comes more from I want to say playwriting, where I don't want to say Shakespeare, but the word and the writer is the king of the sitcom world. So there's a couple of reasons for this, but just know that director, the most pragmatic thing is on a TV series, you are there, the writer is there from beginning of the show, and then you have the showrunner, okay, I clarify what that is, but many times the director only does a couple episodes a year. So the director is coming in from the outside. On a movie, it's very much the director's vision, even though everything is derived from the writer. The writer writes everything, and then everything else is an interpretation of what the writer has written. However, on a movie, you have a singular vision. You're coming in, everybody's starting from day one on this movie, and the director is on equal ground with the director of photography, which is known as the DP, and the casting, and everybody's starting on day one. On a sitcom, let's say you're in season 5 and Phil hires another director. We posted a picture of Jerry Zaks, who visited the Paley Museum. Jerry Zaks was a big-time Broadway director where the word is king. And Phil said, I would love to have Jerry Zaks directing. Now, Jerry Zaks, I don't know what season he started. I don't remember. It might have been 5, 6, something like that. 4, 5, 6, somewhere. Someone can look that up. The first episode that Jerry Zaks directed. Now, Jerry Zaks all of a sudden comes in on season 5, let's say, and he goes, okay, here's what we're going to be doing. It's not how it works in TV, because Phil goes, sorry, Jerry, I know that you're a big-time fancy schmancy Broadway director, but we kind of have a way of doing things here, and I know what I like. For example, there's something called a flat master. Meaning a wide shot where you see everybody in the kitchen and it's just a flat shot completely. So there's no angles or anything. So you're just looking at the kitchen as if you, and I always try and get it down to simplest terms. If you visited the set and you go, oh, I can't wait to show my friends that I was here and let me take a picture of the whole cast, you would kind of stand directly in front of the kitchen, centered, have all the cast members in it, and take that photo. So let's just call that the flat master shot, the establishing flat master shot. Then you have singles of the actors, etc. So the Phil always wanted a flat master of the show. So the director who comes in is not, if he did come in or she came in, is like, okay, Phil, I'm going to really mix it up. I'm going to have a rolling flat master and then rake this way and then focus on that. Phil would go, can you just get what I really want instead of doing anything that's out of the ordinary? So I'm just giving you very specific, everybody's Raymond terms of how a director works on a show and an ongoing series versus a movie. So the other factor, which we're a multi-camera sitcom, so you could arguably direct every single episode on a single camera sitcom, like, sitcom is a tough word. What are single camera sitcoms that people would know? Because, what's hanging me up is if you think of Sex and the City, that's like a movie and not really a sitcom per se. On a single camera show, there's so much preparation that needs to be done by the director. The one director can't be directing every episode because they have to prep for the following week. So while they should be directing, what would happen is the showrunner would go, hey, where's our director? And someone would go, oh, they're prepping for next week's show. Like, well, don't they have to direct this week's show? So that's a problem. So the through line is the showrunner. The showrunner, in Everett Raymond's case, is Phil Rosenthal. So Phil was the head writer of the show, and he was the head of hiring everything that's related to creativity. So the writers, the storylines, the look, everything was kind of under his guidance. The hiring of the cameramen, the hiring of the directors does not that much fall under his domain. So he has a say in everything. In other words, if he's like, I really hate the look of that armoire, then, or armoire, I'm going to go with the latter. He could get rid of it. He has the ultimate power on the show. Having said that, the network executive, they have the ultimate power, especially at the beginning. So when you see the switching of the Darrens on Bewitched, or somebody's not included in that week's script, that is because the network and whoever writes the check has the power. That's why Roseanne Barr went away. Roseanne Barr didn't have the power to stay on her own show. So that's kind of the power structure, and it's a working relationship. Now, Deb asks, what was the hardest scene for Phil to direct? So officially, Phil did not direct any episodes. And unofficially, Phil directed every episode. So let me give you an example. You do a table read. After the table read, we give notes, etc. The table read, for those of you who have never been following me, Tom Cultivator here, writer on there, Rose Raymond. The table read happens, it's the script. Do I have a script here? I think I do, yeah. I have a bunch. Let's see. So here you go. Here's the script. You sit there, and the director, all the actors have this script in front of them, and they're reading it at a table from beginning to end. It's the only time you hear an episode read from the beginning to the end, performed from the beginning to the end, without any breaks. Even on show night, there's a lot of breaks. So this is like the purest way to enjoy an episode. Afterwards, there's notes, and then we, the writers, Phil, leads the writer's room. And on stage, the director goes, okay, scene one. Let's kind of get through this scene in the kitchen and work out blocking. Blocking is just where do the actors stand when they speak. Now, the best thing is when you as the audience member looks at the show and you're like, oh my gosh, that is so real. I can't believe they're not just making it up and they're standing, etc. All of that naturalness is because of the hard work of the director and Phil, and of course input from everybody else, including the actors, who can go, the actors can say anything they want, meaning there's never the thing on stage where, where Patricia Heaton goes, I feel more like I want to stand there, and the director goes, I'm the director, I'll tell you how you feel, etc. That's beyond it doesn't happen. It's a teamwork effort. And so you have this symbiotic relationship where, getting back to the toughest thing for Phil to direct, and by the way, there are union rules that apply also. So I'm not allowed to take photos on the set of Everose Raymond. I'm just being very honest. Phil is not really allowed to direct the episode, but you know what works, and it's allowed to happen. So if you know, okay, well, the show's winning Emmys and everything's to be working out well, I don't think the Directors Guild is going to hit Phil with a fine for trying to direct, etc. Having said that, okay, let's go back now. Having said that, the thing that would happen when you say, what was a hard scene to direct? We would have run-throughs throughout the week. And during the run-through, you would watch the scene. And the director would yell action, and the director would yell cut. And then Phil would give his notes, and all the writers would also chime in. But it would be Phil going through the scene and going, okay, let me see. I feel like, it feels like, by the way, sometimes you'd be like, that's great, hysterical, a couple of minor notes. If it wasn't working, many times Phil would come in and go, okay, let's think about this. And it always went back to an organic thing of what will make this funnier. And there's certain things that, and I watched this on Larry David talking about Seinfeld, where Jerry and Elaine were trying to figure out if they could still sleep together and be friends. And they did the scene initially where they were sitting next to each other on the couch. And just by moving, and they were trying to do this negotiation of how to make this work. And so simply by having Jerry and Elaine move to the opposite ends of the couch, instantly charged the scene in a much more comedic way. And so how do you describe that? It's, you have to watch it and see what works at the time. But that's a lot of what Phil would be doing, and the director as well during the week. So this applies, for example, a great example of this, an analogous thing is when you write a script, it's very hard to write 40 pages of a script. You hand it to all your other writers, and the other writers can sit back and go, Oh, wow, I can't believe how funny I am. I thought of 3 jokes for Tom's script. Well, they have fresh eyes. They don't have to think of everything in the scene, etc. So when Phil and the writers come down to watch, the director has worked out everything in a scene. Patty enters. Does she go to the refrigerator? Does Ray go to the refrigerator? If he goes to the refrigerator, how quickly can he walk over to Pat? All this stuff has to be worked out. So we come down and act all hoity-toity and watch the scene from beginning to end. And of course, we see it completely fresh. And so it's easy to go, you really should be doing this, etc. So there you go. That's kind of the lay of the land of the director and the relationship with the showrunner. Are there showrunners that have directed episodes? 100%. Could Phil have directed an episode? There's beyond zero doubt, but if he directed an episode, he wouldn't be in the writer's room, and he was pivotal in the writer's room. By the way, Ray, Phil, both of them, the amount of hours that they had to put in, because they not only have to write, they have to deal with personalities and problems, and then editing. They have to go into editing. So there's a lot on the plate. So casting, writing, all that stuff falls under that tutelage. When I say, Ray is acting. So when you're like, does Ray have any say in anything? Yes, he 100% did, but he's also on stage trying to learn the script, so we don't get mad at him. Okay, let me catch. So I haven't looked at anything on Instagram. Let me scroll up on Instagram. Let's see if, okay, hold on. Scrolling down. Hello, Massachusetts. Wow, that's early. Hello. I'm just saying hello. Like the hat, Tom, but Blue Jays still lead the division. Okay, Leo, this is a Mets hat. The blue Toronto, for those of you who don't know, Leo, one of our earliest fans from Toronto, his hometown team is the Toronto Blue Jays. Okay, so they're leading their division, which is the American League East. Not like Boston, New York, but because they're too new to have this long storied hatred of each other. But Toronto's very good, which means Yankee fans don't approve. So it's in a different league. Okay, let me catch up, everybody. What I'm doing is scrolling. Need to get you a baggy green cricket hat. Okay, Lee, my friend down in there in Australia. Hold on. Favorite quotes mug and a little bit of ice in this. So, by the way, I can change the rapidity of focus. Okay, a word I've never said before. A rapidity of focus. There's our favorite quotes mug. Oh, you know what I had? You know what I was thinking about doing? Wow, that is very tasty and ice cold. Okay. So people have asked for Marie's cookies, Marie's everything, recipes, a recipe book by Marie. And I know Doris puts them in her book, but my friend makes these beautiful Italian sprinkle cookies. I don't remember in the canister episode. I know lemon squares. I know before Deborah yells, "Hey, fat people," they reminisce about cookies. Did Marie ever mention sprinkle cookies in the series? I don't remember. I could look it up. I have ways. I know people. I can look it up. But okay, let's see this. I was on Instagram. Yes, good to see all of you today. Fall has arrived in Massachusetts. Last night episode of Everett Raymond, Ray's mother backs the car through the house. Yes, Tom, Mitch actor was harder to write for as the series went on. I think Deborah's character was the hardest. Frank was the easiest because Frank is your id. Frank will say everything that he shouldn't say, and he doesn't care. So if you're invited to a party and you're holding your tongue, it's something that Frank never did. And so that made it the most fun. I think Deborah's, because it was so nuanced between she had to play the most colors. Marie was a very specific animal. I'm just trying to think. because I'm trying to think of Amy and all of the other people. Okay, yeah, I would say Deborah is the hardest. Tom, is it smoky where you're at, Tom? Is it smoky where you're at, Tom? Hi, official Jay Lynn. It is not. There's been fires. There's been a couple fires. Wow, these are, I guess I'm really catching up. What was the motivation for change the set design for Ray and Marie's kitchen after the pilot? Was it more a creative choice from Phil and company? Notes from the executives of CBS? Hi, Complex Drive. So the pilot was a presentation pilot, which means it was low budget. It was filmed at Universal Studios. I don't know. We'll have to ask Sharon Bussey or Donna Stamps where they got the pilot. But the bottom line is, can you make this show, which we don't have as much faith in the other shows, which ended up failing, compared to Everest Raymond. But how do we make it for the lowest dollars? And so I don't even know if Donna was on the pilot. She might have been. But they're just scrambling to make this work and hope to get on the air. Once it got picked up, it moved over to Hollywood Center Studios, which is now Sunset Las Palmas Studios. And so then I think it gave more time to, okay, let's really make this of the Italian-American family that's in Long Island and give it flavor and spend more time. Because a lot of times a pilot gets the green light might be, depending on casting. Maybe the green light is February and they're shooting, the middle of March. So people are scrambling. And it's not just, hey, we're going to shoot the Everest Raymond pilot. There's 40 other pilots that are scrambling for sets and doing this all in that little period. So that was more the decision. We can ask Phil how much he chimed in, but I don't think it's that much. Is my guess. I'm sure he had input, etc. Brad Garrett went to the Paley Center. Yes. The bloopers were a show within itself. Yes, this is Tom catching up on all the comments. Is the Raymond exhibit moving somewhere else in New York? Yes. Okay. Mentioned at the beginning that, and I apologize because you may have written this before I said it. New York, yes. So Long Island, hopefully Boston. You never know. I know it's the Jamestown Comedy Center. Is that what it's officially called? They have expressed an interest in the exhibit. So maybe they will have it, and maybe it'll go somewhere in between. I don't know. See, the thing is, museums aren't, they're almost always nonprofit, like the Long Island Museum of Music and Entertainment is nonprofit. And so it's not like some big company comes in and goes, we'll give you $200,000 to fly this thing around the country. So you kind of have to do it on a case-by-case basis. Have you had a story idea? Hi, Andrea, December 19th. I'm going to guess that's your birthday. Have you had a story idea you would have liked to do for ELR if you could go back? That is a very good question. I have dreams. I have a lot of dreams of, I'm in the dream, I'm in the writer's room, because it was just pure joy being in that writer's room, unless you had a script due, then it was the hellish, terrible existence. I wake up and I'm like, it's only a dream. And I know Ray, when he visited the Paley Center, was talking about how in an interview, how he had the most fun on that chair as he sat, listening to all of the funny people trying to make us laugh. Tom, what was the genesis behind the episode Raybert? What writer came up with it, and who did this situation happen to in the writer's room? So if somebody can look that up for me. I think Scrovan wrote it, Steve Scrovan, and I don't know if, so we'll have to ask Steve. It was an interesting situation because Ray and I shared an apartment the first year of Everest Raymond, and we used a lot of that for episodes. But it was interesting because Raymond was not quite famous yet, but he was making more money than my $400 a week every 3 out of 4 weeks. which is not a giant salary. I'm going to say $1,200 a month to start. Um, and so I don't know. I remember Steve talking to me in the hallway about Raybert, and that would often happen. I know Steve one time. I had a radio-controlled airplane, and Scro. I was talking to him about it in end of season 2, and in season 3 he goes, "Hey, are you going to use that for anything?" And that radio controlled, and I had nothing for it. And he said, "I think I can use it in one of my episodes." And I believe, yes. So he did that for All I Want for Christmas, where you've activated the launch sequence, and we usually hang ours on the door, which, by the way, is our best-selling Christmas ornament, if I'm not incorrect. Okay, let me go back. So Leo, we'll ask Steve Scrovan, but you know, it's a great story idea, and maybe one of the funniest scenes ever when that girl shows up at the door. I get pure joy watching that. From start to finish, how long did it take to do a complete single episode from learning scripts to the final film shooting? Hi, Ashton M. K. It's funny because so many of our viewers can talk you through it. I love answering fan questions. For those of you that don't know me, I was a writer on There Was Raymond, but I would go into the audience every week and answer fan questions, just like I'm doing now, only we're going, instead of 200 people in front of me where I can answer and look at them in the eye and point to stuff on the floor, we are here answering questions from around the world. So the script writing process is completely separate. So just assuming you have a finished script, you finish the script, and here's what a script looks like. There you go. There is a script. And, oh wow, here's a shooting script. This is even more accurate. My desk, okay. Let's say you wrote it not upside down. So there you go. Mozart by your friend Philip Rosenthal. This is the script that you have on show night. It takes 1 week to make a show from beginning to end. We shortened it to 4 days a week towards the end because it was so efficient, the actors were so good, etc. But we, the writers, still had to work a 5-day grueling work week. So 5 days is how long it took from the beginning, which is the initial production meeting, table read, that's on a Monday, and then you shoot on a Friday in front of the live audience, and it takes about 3 hours to film the 30-minute show. It takes about 3 hours to film it in front of a live audience, and some shows, as we know, took a lot longer. Okay, wow, holy moly. The frog, and yes, look at that. I'm only here. Let me make this smaller. Hold on, let me do this. Oh, you tricky window on my Mac. It won't let me shrink this. It goes away. Why are you fighting me? Okay. Never had that before. I'm trying to move the nope. Right when I get the cursor to where it goes, the portion disappears. So oh my gosh, I wish I could share that screen with you. Okay. Back over to, okay, let's see this. Okay, catching up here. Okay, let me see if I can catch up on the comments. We do have a snack today. We do have a wardrobe script for you to guess. So for those of you that don't know, that is one of the canisters. There's only one that appeared on the show, and that one, oh yes, that smells very good. We will taste that in a second. By the way, I found these slides also. Let me see, will this show? Let's see, these are slides. Here's how long we are. This, I don't think you'll see anything here. Am I correct? Yes, nothing. Oh, nothing to be seen. Let me see, what is it? It's upside down, first of all. I have a lot of these slides. This is the improv softball team. These are two comedians talking to each other. Sorry, I'm not trying to bore you, but these are Kodachrome. Here, my head has to be out of the way for this fancy schmancy camera to not focus on me. There you go. A Kodachrome slide, everybody. Oh, so this one, yeah, you can't see. See, I've never. This is the beauty of live. So Raymond is here is Raymond. Okay, yeah, you can't see that. This is Raymond hitting. I'm going to post this. This is a slide of Raymond, who had a very good softball swing, playing for the improv team. Okay, you can kind of get it there a little bit. Oh, we are dealing with glare, no light source behind. I will post that picture, folks, so you can see it. Those Kodachromes are sitting on my desk. Okay, let's catch up on some comments here. Hi, Karen. I always bring you to the top of the list. Where did this go? Okay, this is here. Now, here we go. I'm surprised my husband has time to date. Yes, one of my favorite lines, because it could have been, she could have been furious. Hi, Deb Tucker. I'm putting that in. Yes. So that here, I'll bring your question up again. That is the joy of that moment, because Deborah could have been going ballistic, etc. So Frank and Marie's over the top reaction, and then Deborah just being like, "I'm just surprised my husband has time to date," was pure joy to watch that execution. So yes, Deb, you said, Tom, you mentioned last week, at the end of their 9th season, the cast was unemployed. I was always getting the impression that once a hit sitcom ended, everyone would be picked up by someone else. Okay, the excellent comment, excellent question-ish. Sorry, question, not the, I'm not questioning the validity of that. It's just, is it a question or a statement? You know, it's a really common thing. They called it the Seinfeld curse. Julie Louis-Dreyfus proved it wrong. Patricia Heaton went on to the middle. There are so many things that has to happen for an actor to continue working. Nothing is guaranteed. So it's much, much different than professional sports, for example. If you're a professional soccer player, anything, football, baseball, you're just a really good athlete, and any team can drop you into their any team would happy to have a star, top of their game athlete join their team. A show, a drama, a sitcom, there's so many moving parts. So you couldn't drop Doris Roberts into another show without it fitting. It just doesn't happen so easily. Now, did Fred Mertz, right? Did William Frawley go into My Three Sons, right? And then they replaced him, etc. Yes. So could that happen? Like, could a show hire someone like that? Yes, but you have to know that once you're on a hit show, once you're Jason Alexander as George Costanza, you drop him into another sitcom, he doesn't disappear as easily as, for example, Harrison Ford into 20 different movies, Tom Hanks into 20 different movies. So there's a lot of moving parts for that to happen. You're 100% correct. Patricia Heaton was the lead of a show about a married woman. That's kind of believable. That she's, and that's a show that was developed, I'm assuming, for her, etc. So yes, now the crew instantly starts working because you need good cameramen, you need everything. They, within reason, instantly start working. So, but that's why it's not like a professional sports player where like, oh my God, a really good home run hitter, yeah, we'll take him. It's like, okay, how does Doris Roberts fit into this show? She's going to be so dominating, and their fear is like, they're going to go, there's Marie, when she walks in the door. So I hope that sheds some light. There has to be a project that fits, that would make sense. Okay, let's see. Frank's line in Raber was the funniest. You got a problem with, yes, you don't go out and get another woman. Now you got two problems. All you guys do, yes. So I swear that Steve Scrovan's father, he said that. He said a line similar. Clearly we have to have Steve Scrovan on to testify on his behalf. Okay, the canister in the Paley exhibit is the exact same canister from the episode. Yes, it is. The sofa is different. The real sofa is in Raymond's house right now, and so You have to know that, again, everything is a. By the way, nobody at the Paley Museum. There's going to be thousands of people sitting on this couch, and Ray has the couch, and so I guess we could be like, Ray, do you mind if 1,000 strange, here I'll say it in comedic terms, would you mind if 1,000 strange asses hit your couch? And he might go, I'd rather not. Is there any way we can get one that looks very similar so I can keep my historic thing clean? So the toaster, all that stuff. Yeah, so there's no, just to be clear, the thought of getting Ray, well, maybe we can sneak it out of his house, but I was not going to ask him. So yeah, the mustard color suit, Patty's outfit is there. Yes, correct. Let me see. Okay, let's see. Bloopers were the best. I'm following this. Robert's girlfriend is a frog lady. We get a glimpse. It's too hard. We get glimpses at a certain distance. I don't know what that means. I don't see it. He has a white shirt. Oh, I see the slide. Okay, my apology. Yeah, if I had a flashlight. Oh, wait, here's a flashlight. I'm going to try that once again. Let's try this once again. This is really, I don't know why trying. Okay, here we go. Come on. Hunting for focus. And now, if I can line this up. This is maybe yes, there's Raymond. Wow, I'm working in a reverse image. Here we go. Let's try this. Okay, this is maybe the worst thing I've ever done, but okay. I think it's more exciting than, there you go, folks. I pulled it off. Flashlight shining on a Kodachrome slide of Raymond hitting the ball. And actually Raymond, let me see. Raymond would, and also shining a light directly into a lens. Okay, so there you go. Raymond is a right-handed hitter. Okay, so bear with me, everybody. I appreciate the patience and the non-exasperation. Working with two things in a reverse image. Okay, Oh, we had it so good. Okay. Okay. See, it's trying to focus on me. There it is. There is the perfect Raymond hitting could be a home run, could be a foul ball. Raymond hit a lot of foul balls. Okay. I will scan that slide. But there you go. That was me with a nice bright flashlight and a Kodachrome thing. All right. I should taste something for you. Yes. Okay. Let's look at this. Okay, Jason was in Pretty Woman. Yes, before Seinfeld or during Seinfeld? Might have been during Seinfeld. I don't know. Did you write using a yellow legal pad or script software? Hi, Bob. Yeah, I wrote on Final Draft, it's called. Final Draft, the program. I think Seinfeld wrote everything on a yellow pad. Most people. Jeremy Stevens wrote on a yellow pad. Let me see. Hi, Linda. This is a pragmatic thing. Okay. How would it be handled if an audience member suddenly sneezed or had a coughing fit? Would they just restart the scene, or were you able to remove it later during editing? Did anything like that ever throw off an actor when they were delivering a line? No. That never happened. So yes, easily removed. There are so I have a microphone. Can I pull this microphone out? Let me see. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, so that's a microphone. I hope I can get it back now. That would be sitting over the audience, like let's say 6 of these or something. So they would just kill. Now I got to push that back. Okay. They would just kill the audience feed, and it's easy to take out a laugh, etc. But the incident you're talking about, type of thing where someone just, like in a golf match where somebody just coughs or makes a noise, that never happened. So would people cough? Yes. I mean, you know the worst feeling when you're someplace and you don't want to disturb anybody. But it never happened where it threw off the audience. So excellent question. Excellent question. I think Raymond showed it on that show that showed his house, the sofa. Maybe. Yes, because I think the house you're referring to, Mona, might be in Palm Springs, etc. So yes, Brad's uniform. Doesn't acting mean they can play different parts? Otherwise, they're typecast. Hi, Lynn. Yes, but the audience sometimes doesn't accept, like the original Superman on the TV show. I know when I think he is in From Here to Eternity, and it's like, oh, there's Superman. And I think, didn't Donna Reed play a prostitute? So it's tough. Like, it's very tough. So yes, Tom Hanks did okay. Robin Williams did okay after Mork and Mindy, etc. It's also, there were so many projects that there's only so many projects that you can fit into. So Doris Roberts, there's only so, that's a very, very big role and very powerful personality. So yes, the acting's not the problem. It's the audience acceptance of it, I'm sure. Nobody wants to be Gilligan where you go, hey, it's Gilligan. And eventually with Robin Williams, they didn't go, hey, there's Mork because he did so much. Okay, scrolling. Yes, so Seinfeld aired in 1989 and Pretty Woman aired 90. So he must have done that movie probably, it could have been done before Seinfeld, but either way, when Seinfeld premiered, they did 6 episodes or 4 episodes. I think it's the smallest order in the history of television for a series. So nobody knew who he was then yet. Nobody saw Pretty Woman and go, wait a minute, that's George Costanza from the show that aired 4 times and is 110 in the ratings. And again, age, time moves on. So anybody who's, I don't know any 24-year-olds that are watching From Here to Eternity. I recommend they watch it. But no 24-year-old, I'm very cautious about saying a declarative statement to all our viewers here. There is no 24-year-old who's going to watch From Here to Eternity and go, there's Donna Reed. Isn't she from the Donna Reed? And there's the guy from George Reeves from Superman, etc. So time marches on. So eventually, and I think, I may have mentioned this once before, there was a piano player who, what is the contest? There's a big Russian contest, a piano. Somebody will know it who's listening to me now. But the guy came in second. And I remember he was under the shadow of this big, of the guy that won it. And I'm thinking, you know what? Because I heard the guy that came in second, I heard him for the first time in like 2020. And I wanted to say to him, hey, go back in time and say, someday somebody's going to be listening to you playing piano and have no clue that you were in the contest, that you were second in that contest, etc. Wow, there's a famous guy. I have a hair. Let me see. Did I get rid of it? Let me see. I don't know. Maybe. Male laugh, I hear, resembles the voice of the actor that plays Deborah's dad. Wow. Pia, that is a very specific thing. The laugh reminds you of Robert Culp. Okay. All right. It's time to play Guess the Episode, and then I will eat a. So I've decided the order is very important because once I eat a cookie, my hands are sticky. All right. Let's see. Let me see this episode. Hold on, everybody. Okay. I got to lean back a little bit. Okay. Hold on. Let me just adjust my hat. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, first time, I rescued from a dumpster all 210 episodes of Everest Raymond and the wardrobe department scripts and the prop department scripts. And in the wardrobe department, they took a photo of every single wardrobe change from every single episode. So here, this is the hardest clue. I'm going to tell you. These are the hardest clue because this is Ray Romano. And Ray Barone and Ray Romano dressed the same, and Ray Barone dressed the same in almost every episode. Oh, look, nope, there's a unique one. Plaid shirt with a t-shirt underneath, plaid shirt with a t-shirt underneath. Okay? So nobody is going to guess it from that episode. Nobody. Von Cliburn. Thank you, Bob Silva. Von Cliburn. What is the name of the competition? Yes. I love this. Let me see. Okay, yes, sorry. I know it doesn't help for me to be silent, but I'm reading all of the comments and seeing if I want to bring them up so as not to. Okay. Your husband made chicken marsala for dinner. Interesting. And therefore, you have to go. I mentioned October for possible reunion film. Inquiring wants to know, can you give a hint as to West Coast or East Coast? I don't know the answer. My guess is West Coast, Annabelle, if it happens. Okay. So, has anybody guessed this episode? This is a tough one, okay? Patricia Heaton. This is really a tough one. Patricia Heaton again. Okay, I'm going to go back to Patty. And back to Patty again. That's Rhonda. It looks like at the sink. And Don. That means something happened in the sink that they have to reset. Okay. Any guesses so far? There's really no clues that are going to help you. All right. Here's the first one that might help, but still. That is Phil talking to Doris in their kitchen. Okay. So this is really, really tough. Really tough. Frank Peterboyle standing there giving a kind of muscle man pose. Okay. Annabelle's guessing alone time, and Kathy is guessing alone time. Let's see. Wow. Okay. You guys are very good. So the first answer was Annabelle that came up. Kathy, very impressive, both of you guys. Let me see this. Okay. Alone time it is. Alone time it is. Okay. Now, what gave it away, you guys? I want to hear that. Was it Patty's outfit? There is Brad in his NYPD. And Madeline, etc. By the way, that is a small cast. I guess this was this in the tag? The mailman? Postman, mailman. Okay. And one of the twins. There you go. Alone time. Excellent guesses. Time to try a cookie now, I think. Patty's outfit, the green shirt, it was just on the other day. Kathy, thank you. Patty's green anta and beige pants. Okay. Patty's outfit. Okay, there you go. Kim, why didn't you guess Kim if you guessed it? Donnell, golf for it. Not a good one. Tom is a writer. What episode are you most proud of and why? Thanks, Deb. I don't. That's a tough one to answer. I think, Ray and I wrote the season 1 finale, and that was the first script that I wrote, first script that Raymond wrote, and so I think just that we pulled that off and didn't embarrass ourselves and didn't make the writers hate us. That was helpful. Okay, now, let's see this. Hi, Pia Biondo. You traveled to see the ELR exhibit at the Paley Museum from Albany last weekend. I would have loved to see any of the cast members. Yes. Who? Yes. Yeah. That would be great to see the cast members. Yes. That's awesome though that you drove there from Albany. That's where my friend's pastry shop is, a little bit north there in Schenectady. Okay. Reaching into the canister. Let me see. 100%. We still have to figure out where this canister is from. Hand applied. A little bit beaten up, painted. Now, Rhonda said she had it made, but it feels like a manufactured thing. I'm not calling Rhonda an untruthful person, but it's an amazing job, whoever made it. I think some glue on the inside, but let's see what we have. Wow, this is a bizarre one. Okay, There we go. Griffins. Okay, we're back. You know, these are far away, folks. This is, I believe, New Zealand. Sorry, let me hold it so you don't get seasick. Griffin's Pineapple Chunks. Now, this is a very unique thing. We have to remember to put these in the refrigerator first. Hold on. Again, my impression, person behind you in the theater. Okay. All right, here we go. Opening. Griffin, do we know, does anybody watching know that? Maybe Lee from Australia would know that. I don't know. Let me see. Even she had, okay, yeah. Lipular forestation, yes. I believe you. Okay, sorry, I'm bending. I have to bend down to try and see, not to rub it into the face. Okay, here we go. Here's what that looks like, folks. That is, this is, I'm predicting, I didn't know these existed. A pineapple chunk chocolate biscuit. Okay. Okay, these two are stuck together. Okay. All right. We had some, I will need a napkin. I can be confident of that. Okay. So here we go. Again, I have to take these behemoth bites because my fingers are, I almost have to eat this whole thing because it's going to get chocolate all over me. So, okay. Here we go, folks. Holy moly. Super crunchy. Definitely getting pineapple. Are there nuts in it? I think there's nuts in it, right? Sorry, it's just such, only because it's so melted, I had to put it in my mouth and it's, boy, I'm gonna give this a 7.8. This is really, really good. And maybe because it's so unique that I've never had anything like it, that it stands out. And maybe the people of, is it New Zealand? So this is almost weird. What is the thing, what is the affliction you have when you can't see many, it weirds you out when you see like a bunch of holes that are all together. That's a definite affliction and people can't see it. That's why I almost don't want to hold this up. But here we go. So here, let me, okay, come on. Come on. See my head, it wants to focus on my eye. Okay, there we go. That's the bottom side, and now you'll know why I said the other thing. A bunch of the innards fell because it was glued to the opposite of that. So this is the inside. Trypophobia, is that the right pronunciation? Trypophobia, okay. So, sorry, not a fear of a pineapple cookie, but, so this is a pineapple chunks chocolate biscuit. This is really, really good. Okay. Boy, what I do for everybody. Okay, I got it. There we go. The most unique cookie I've ever had. Biscuit. Pineapple chunks, chocolate biscuits, Griffins. Here, folks, just so you don't think I'm exaggerating. Here, no, it's not gonna, oh, this is, I think I had better luck with Raymond hitting the ball. There we go. That is, I hope that doesn't gross people out. Certain people are squeamish. Oh yeah, that's a high rating. Wow, okay. That's such a unique flavor. I'm sitting here trying to process, looking for the words. Not too sweet, bizarrely, even though I'm almost have to shower after eating it. And here fell on my keyboard one of the, we'll send this to the lab. Yeah, it tastes like a, okay, somebody's going to look up the insides of that. Wow, that's a high rating. I have to get the spreadsheet going so I can start posting this. Wafer cookie inside. Looks like a Girl Scout cookie one would sell. Maybe. Dried pineapple bits. Bob, is that? I don't know. Wow, that's really good. Can I ask Phil what it's like going from a showrunner to hosting a food and travel show? Thanks. Reunion question, yes, for when they go to dinner. Thank you, Deb. Let's see. Yes, these are very funny. Yes, we will ask Phil. I think maybe Phil will visit next time when he's promoting a show. We'll have him drop on there. Okay. Everybody, have a good week. Don't forget, send your messages. I love getting your messages. I also get like hundreds of messages on all kinds of different platforms. So if I don't answer your message, I know I've said in the past, but it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's because maybe I haven't seen it yet, etc. Which is why I do enjoy what do I want to say? Reading the musings of you guys is what I'm trying to say. So, but I appreciate sending messages. Send them a couple times if you don't hear from me, or maybe I'll answer them. Thank you all for all of your great questions. I will see you again next week. Don't forget, Paley exhibit closes next Sunday, September 14th. And look at Phil's schedule, by the way. He might be near you. Tonight he's in Vermont. Grab a ticket if you are nearby. It's a really, really fun show, and you can maybe stump him on a question about Ed Rose Raymond. All right. See you all next week. Have a good week, everybody. Or, as we said on Raymond, Habanada. All right. See you next week.